You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel.
I'm Clint, and we got the third box one more time. Our main man, Justin, who is, I'm going to throw down OG to the Locked On Bulldogs because we got thrown out of the Chili's together, Justin.
Yeah.
We
all
in
it
this
feels like it
together.
was yesterday.
It
really
does.
does.
It does. If you've never been thrown out of a Chili's with us, you can't relate. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like. But Justin does. Justin, it's great to have you on the pod, man. It's been a long time coming. Big Georgia fan, Justin is. He's also the official legal correspondent of Locked On Bulldogs. We took that title from M-Dubs. That's right. You're our second lawyer that we've had on the pod this week. So it's really, right? Yeah. So it's you got to up your game if you want to get an invite to the pod. Is what we're trying to say, people. Hey, welcome, Justin. Justin's a great follow on Twitter. You should hit him up over there. Justin B tweeting. You can get after him that way. But glad you're here. Justin's a fan. Clint's a fan. I'm a fan. That's what the podcast is all about. We're not gurus or insiders. We are not trying to break down film or take ourselves too seriously. What we are is big-time fans of the Georgia Bulldogs, and that's what we're here to talk about. It's the best week of the year to be a fan of the Georgia Bulldogs because it's Florida week. It's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. We're locked and loaded, and we're ready to go.
Some of us more locked than others.
Oh no, that was empty. It's empty, Glenn. What happened? See, what had happened was pre-production meeting got real for Clint, and so he came out. If he stands up and leaves in the middle of the podcast, you all know why. Hey, if you're listening on audio right now, you can't see Clint's empty cup, which is he prefers it that way. You can find us on audio wherever podcasts are found: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. So just search Locked On Bulldogs on YouTube. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a comment on YouTube and leave us a 5-star rating and review on podcasts. All those things are appreciated. All right, that's LockedOnBulldogs@gmail.com. at Dawgs Podcast. You guys probably know those things by now. Justin, let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
Clint and I have talked about Florida this week. We've talked about the game. We've talked about our thoughts. We've been talking about it for a while. We got some insight from Sarah yesterday on the pod, but I'm curious your history with the Georgia-Florida game. When this game comes up every year, just tell me, does it fill you with anxiety? Does it fill you with excitement? Like what are you feeling?
Yeah, especially this year, guys. This has been the game that I've kind of had my eyes on ever since it was clear that, we're really a national powerhouse and a contender this year. The thing about Florida for me has always been, or at least this year in particular, is I feel like they play to the level of their competition. But that's a good and a bad thing because they play up and they'll play down. Like if they're playing Alabama, you saw what they did. They showed up, big game of the year. They really push Alabama to the edge, but then they have the same stinker against somebody like Kentucky. And so I think that's what they're going to do for us. I think they're going to show up. I think it's their Super Bowl. They're clearly staking their entire season on it. If I hear one more 44-28 reference about last year's game, that was a highlight of their entire year, and they went 8-4, and they haven't shut up about it for an entire year. I don't know what they do, but this year, it's a big game for us. It's a big game for them, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't be me to have a poverty program that wins the SEC East, still goes 8-4, and only talks about one regular season game in the middle of the schedule. A regular season game where our starting quarterback separates his shoulder, by the way, at a moment in the game when we were up 14-0. But not a big deal, not a huge deal.
No,
a game with no Pickens, no Jordan Davis.
You said that this is the one that you circled.
Important players.
What makes you most anxious, Justin, as you circle this game? What's the thing that gives you the most heartburn?
Making mistakes. We can't have any turnovers. We can't get any thing that's going to make the game easier for them. If we go out and play our game, you know, I'm entirely confident we're going to get the win. But if we go out and, you know, make some bad turnovers, start to put the ball in their hands and make it easy for them, that's where things can get crazy. I think Mullen's going to have all the tricks ready to go. You guys remember in 2017 when he was at Mississippi State and we hit him with that flea flicker first play of the game.
Oh, yeah.
When he gets to Florida the next year, first play of the game, he's a petty guy. He does the exact same thing to us because he hates Kirby, he hates Georgia. Got a little brother syndrome going on. So I think we're going to see all the gimmicks are going to come out because they're trying to win this game and again stake their entire season on beating Georgia.
Yeah, well, when you got 3 losses, that's what you got to do. Let's talk a little bit big picture. I want to come back maybe as we move through the pod. I want to get your thoughts on Florida's offense, particularly Florida's defense. We talked a lot about Florida's offense. Florida fans have really loved our conversation about Florida's offense.
Are they in the comments?
They loved
in
it
the comments.
They loved it when Clint called them Kentucky 2.0.
I think that's harsh.
They loved it. They loved it when I said that Emory Jones was Grayson Lamberting his way down the field. And so I want to get your thoughts on all that. But first, this is the first time we've been able to have you on all season. Hopefully not the last time. But let's talk about this season as a whole. We're 7 weeks in to Georgia's hopefully historic season. I think you've already mentioned this team feels different to you. This team is a different type of Georgia team. So just give me your overall impressions. What has been a pleasant surprise to you? This is what I like to ask all of our guests. What's been a big pleasant surprise on this Georgia team, an area where we've really exceeded your expectations coming into the year?
I really like how we've really just showed up at every game ready to play. Like we haven't had any moments where I felt like we were unprepared or got caught flat-footed. You know, that Clemson game that, you know, all 3 of us are at. Shout out to Chili's again. No shout
out to the Chili's.
Applebee's.
We are an Applebee's podcast now. That's it.
Nancy at the Chili's. You're dead to me, Nancy.
Just the way the defense played that entire game, man, that we have kept our foot on the pedal, our foot on the gas that this entire season ever since then, and we haven't let up. There's been no flash in the pan. It's like, this is who we are. And, you know, just the level of play that we've had reminds me a lot about 2017, that 2017 team in the sense that, you know, we come out, we have the injury to Eason and everybody's concerned, like, oh, you know, I don't really know how the season's going to go. We got this Jake Fromm kid coming in. What does that really mean? Go up to South Bend and get the win. Everyone's like, oh, you know, that's great. You got the win against Notre Dame, but, you know, we don't really know anything about this Georgia team. Maybe they're real, maybe they're not. Then you have the Mississippi State game. And I think that's, for me, that's when everybody really took note, like, hey, this team might be doing something special. Go to Tennessee, blank them 41-0. And the story just kind of kept going and going and going and going. I think Florida was like 42-7 that year, hoping for a similar result this year. But just the way this team is gelling, got great leadership, great defensive play. That's kind of the foundation of the team, just like 2017. But I'm really getting tired of people saying we haven't played anybody. I'm getting tired of that. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but every week it's a different one. Like, oh, well, you know, Arkansas is going to come into Athens and they're going to show Georgia what's up because they haven't played anybody. Oh, Arkansas wasn't that good. Kentucky, though, Kentucky is going to show them. Oh, Kentucky wasn't that good. No. Now we got Florida.
Listen, that narrative is hilarious to me. I don't know. I came on with a public service announcement, I think earlier this week, where I've gotten to the point where, like, if the national media is frustrating me by spinning this narrative that Georgia wins, but asterisk, then, like, why am I focusing on anything except the part of the narrative that says Georgia wins? Because that's the part of the, like, that's it. All you have to do is win the games, and that's what we do. And guess what? Florida's the 4th best team we played this year. I mean, you can't change my mind about that. They're the 4th best team we played this year. And so on Saturday, there will not be any reason for any Georgia fan to say we've played somebody, because if we hadn't played anybody yet, we certainly are not going to play anybody this Saturday or the next Saturday or the next Saturday or the next Saturday, because the only somebodies out there are way down the schedule for us if we haven't played anybody yet. So Yeah, it's an exciting team. I like what you said about the way we brought it every game, and kind of dovetailing right into what makes you anxious about this Florida game because, you know, Georgia fans, if you've been a Georgia fan for a long time, you feel that egg out there, like you feel that egg because it's been there.
Like, what's going to go wrong? It's going to go wrong. What is it going to be, and when is it going to happen? Right?
It's been there. We can all point to those games, but this team feels different. We're not here to do that.
It's different. It's different. This Kirby-led team, he's got all the culture, all the players, all the recruiting, all the coaches. This is Kirby from top to bottom of the program all the way throughout, which I think what makes this different. Hey, we're going to come back and ask Justin some more questions, but first, we'll let you know about Prize Picks. Have you heard about it, college football fans? Prize Picks is your daily fantasy football using college. It's got the most props of any single place in the entire world. It's easy payout. It's quick. It's secure. You make the prop bets, which just go ahead and let those creative juices be flowing. See what happens. I don't know. Make interceptions. How many times Dan Mullen calls a timeout in the first quarter because of alignment. I don't know. Prize Picks, give me some odds on that. I'll take your money because it's going to be at least one, maybe two. Head over right now to prizepicks.com. It's got an award-winning app. It's you against the player projection, and you can do mixed sport entry as well. It's in the App Store or Google Play. 60 seconds or less can be made an entry. It's that easy. Prize Picks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com. Use promo code LOCKEDON. Go to the App Store. Download the app today. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy.
All right. Justin, I want to ask who you want to be the starting quarterback, but I like you too much. I'm not going to subject you. I'm not going to subject you. I'm telling you, I just can't. I don't understand how. We were talking about this, I think, off air, but I don't think we talked about it on it. Like, what kind of a world do we live in where you can desire one person to play a position and that means you hate another person? Like, it just means that you want that person to die. You want that person to have never come to your school. You don't appreciate anything that he's ever done for you just because you want another person to play the position. Listen, I'm sure Kenny McIntosh is a heck of a guy. I love that he's at Georgia. I'm happy that he's getting healthy, but I don't need him in the rotation. I just don't need him in the rotation. I'm happy with the rotation right now. Like, I'm happy with what I got with 3, 4, and 2. Those guys are doing fine for me in the rotation. I don't need 6 in there right now. I'm happy he's healthy. So, quarterback situation, let me ask you this. Does it matter, Justin, who plays quarterback and why or why not?
I don't think it matters for Florida. I've got full confidence that Stetson can get the job done. Now, at the same time, I'll tell you my take. I want JT playing. I want JT playing because I need JT getting reps. So
how dare you? How dare you?
You're never going to hear me say anything bad about Stetson. He's been a great teammate. He's done everything we've asked him to do with a smile on his face. Been nothing but a great dog, a damn good dog. That's Stetson. So I'm not going to down the guy, but at the same time, it's like if this team wants to go where we all want them to go, I think we need JT Daniels. I see the stats about, Stetson is leading the country in like passes over 10 yards down the field and completion percentage, and that's great. Keep it up. But I think JT can do the same thing. JT to date has never lost a game for Georgia. And I think we can't rule that out. We can't rule that out. So, I appreciate everything Stetson's done, but I need JT to get back in here.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with that. No, absolutely. I think you're right. Where we want to go, you're right. This week, if Stetson or JT trots out there, which I do think Kirby has said he's not going to name somebody, and he actually said it's going to be based upon practice, which I'm fine with. Coach, speak me to death on that. I don't really care because whoever does perform in practice, come on out. It's Florida. We're going to have the same game plan, and I don't anticipate us being down by 20. Now, you put me in a situation where we got to score 20 in one half. Yeah, give me JT with the ball because he's going to be able to do that. 100%. What do you think about this Florida offense going against this vaunted defense like we talked about? What's the ceiling of point total for Florida offense against us this game?
That's a good one. I would say in the 24, 28 range.
Is the ceiling.
Yeah, it's the ceiling. I think, say what you want about Florida and their quarterbacks and Emory Jones, but I think Anthony Richardson is a really good. He's a very talented kid.
He's talented.
If they can figure it out, I think he's a real threat. Now, I think we're in a good spot because we've seen something like him before, right? I think KJ Jefferson is a pretty close analog to what we're going to see from Anthony Richardson, and we shut him down. Difference was, where that was in Sanford Stadium. This is going to be basically a home game for Florida. If you guys want to talk about something, ask me about my feelings about being in Jacksonville every year. That's a de facto Florida home game every single year, but that's besides the point. So, but I think 24, 28 is their ceiling. That does not mean I think they're going to get there. I don't think they're going to get there, but I think that's their ceiling, and it comes through Anthony Richardson. If they play Emory Jones, that's a guaranteed 2 picks right there, maybe 1 pick six.
Gosh, Dan Mullen your way to giving us points, please, by starting Emory Jones and keeping him in there, please.
I just don't know if I'm a Florida fan right now and Anthony Richardson has not gotten every rep in the bye week, every rep with the ones. That's malpractice for the team. That's cause to be fired right there. What are you doing as a coach if you're going to keep rotating these guys when you got Stetson, you got JT, we can have a heated debate about which one. Guess what? They're both done pretty dang good when they played quarterback this year. That is not the case over at Florida. Now, listen, Anthony Richardson has not been perfect. Lights out.
Not been perfect.
But he's 18 years old. He's a kid, and he's got all the talent in the world. Emory Jones has had his moment. He's had his time. He's shown that he's not it. And so I don't see how you can keep trying him out there. Well, we'll see. I don't expect Emory Jones to play a lot. Clint mentioned the picks. Prop bet for Emory Jones. I wouldn't take that prop bet right now, because I'm not sure Emory Jones plays unless things start to get out of hand, which now it might. And Dan Mullen feels like he's got to make some changes. He's got to do some things differently because they're down 17 points in the blink of an eye. And Anthony Richardson's been bottled up. The Florida offense put up a lot of yards this year, 9th in total offense in the country, going up against the number 1 total defense in the country in the University of Georgia. I think the more intriguing matchup to me, Justin, is on the other side of the ball, where this Georgia offense, I don't know, maligned by the national media. I don't understand the narrative. But the narrative is out there that this Georgia offense is trash. Averaging 38.6 points a game, but I guess that's trash. I don't know.
Terrible.
Embarrassing. When you average scoring 33 more points than your defense allows per game, I guess that's not enough. I don't know. That's not enough to.
I don't know how we're doing.
I don't understand it. The math does not add up. Somebody get a mathematician on the podcast. We need some advice. What is this Florida defense? What do you see as the strengths of the Florida defense? Are there areas of concern for you as a Georgia offense going into this game? And what are the areas that you feel like we can try to exploit?
Their defense doesn't provide any level of concern for me. That's a joke of a defense. And you want to talk about you want to talk about Mullen's management of the quarterbacks, his management of Grantham and leaving Grantham in this position there. That's fireable offense number 1. You got to get that guy out of there. You got to get him out of there. But I said on Twitter about a year ago, something about Mullen came up, and I said I speak on behalf of all of the University of Georgia and its fan base when I say I hope Dan Mullen never leaves Florida. You should have seen
here.
That's because you're a moron or you're an idiot. A year later, because I'm petty, I've been going back to those tweets and say, Mullen's doing a great job, guys. Keep it up. Same thing with Todd Grantham. He's doing a great job. I hope he never leaves. But no, in all seriousness, if you're Florida, as long as he's at the helm there, you've seen what he's going to give you. You've seen his track record. Look at what he did to us. People gave Mike Bobo so much crap for his time in Georgia. Mike Bobo has probably got chronic back problems to this day because he had to carry the team because Todd Grantham was giving up 35 points a week.
Yeah,
I don't have any concerns about what their defense is going to do. They got some talent, but he's not going to put it together.
No, and that's the thing that's really weird. They have talent, but to even suggest that this defense is even on the same playing field as our defense and this D-line, the front seven, you go down the list, and Florida fans be all over the place right now trying to figure out how they can stack up somebody against Jordan Davis statistics and yada, yada, yada. It's not even the same.
For Florida, right?
That's what exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. It's comical to even suggest that these guys are there. Now, that's not to say they don't have no talent. They do have talent. This defensive line is good, just like we can say of Kentucky, their offensive line was good, the best offensive line we'll face, and they got destroyed by our defense.
Just to be clear, Clint, there were moments in that game where Kentucky's good offensive line made plays against Georgia's elite defensive line. That's what happens when you match up a good unit against an elite unit. Over the course of 60 minutes, there are going to be times when that good unit is able to make some hay and make a few plays. And Kentucky, you saw that. They moved the ball down the field. They were able to run the ball effectively. I know that the rushing stats at the end of the game didn't look great, but there were times, especially in the first half of that game, when Kentucky's run game looked decent against Georgia. There were times when they were hitting things on the outside against Georgia, but over the course of 60 minutes, you saw how it played out. Now you take the same thing with what I think is a really, really talented offensive line, underrated offensive line that Georgia has, really coming into their own and playing way above their pay grade at this point, way above what we expected from them. And you match them up against a good Florida front seven, and there are going to be times when Florida gets a 3-and-out in this game. I do believe that. There are going to be times when Florida makes a defensive stand in this game. You're going to see that. But over the course of 60 minutes, it's just not going to hold up. It's not going to be there. And then you start getting back into that secondary, Justin, and that's where things get really, really
I hope Arian Smith
Florida fan.
I really hope Arian Smith is ready to go. Just like I'm seeing the reports that he's running with the twos at practice, but I need running with the ones and straight fly routes, straight go routes all day. Like we got to have a beat
run with the twos. That's fine. That's just
we're gonna get that rotation up and going. Yeah, I was just gonna say they're gonna get a rotation up and going. Don't you worry. I'm concerned for the well-being of Todd Grantham. Like, has a coach ever been fired at halftime? Just like
has a coach ever been fired? An assistant coach ever been fired by an athletic director at halftime right after that athletic director fired the head coach at halftime? That's the question we should
just
be
comes
asking.
in and says, both of you. Now, hey, we're going to come back. We're going to ask Justin some more questions. But first, we'll let you about Built Bar. Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. How do we know? We've tried them. All of them. Every last new flavor that comes out, and they're all delicious. This just in. Every last one of them is delicious. Daniel and I love them. Some are crispy, some protein bars come in packs. They come in all sorts of flavors, and you can get yours right now at BuiltBar.com with promo code LOCKEDON to get 15%. Locked On 15 gets you 15% off your entire order, no matter if you buy 1 box or 20 boxes. So get that savings going. They are high in protein, low in sugar. They are high in fiber. Keto approved, post-workout, pre-workout, during a workout, meal replacement on the go. BuiltBar.com for your tastiest protein bar on planet Earth.
Also, want to let you know about BetOnline.ag. If you're a longtime listener of the podcast, then you know that Clint and I will be back tomorrow giving out those locks. If you like money and you like acquiring new money to the money that you already have, then this is a great way to do so. You go to BetOnline.ag. They're your online sportsbook experts. You bet on everything. Baseball, basketball, football. I don't know if you know this, but every sport in the world is being played right now. It's kind of the greatest time of the year. You go bet on hockey. You do whatever you want. BetOnline.ag. It's your online sportsbook expert. Go there right now. Get ready for locks tomorrow. Enter the promo code Locked On. They're going to give you a 50% bonus on your initial deposit. That means you deposit $100. They give you $50 free on top. That's free money with which to lay the points with Georgia. You don't even have to wait for locks tomorrow. Listen, go to BetOnline.ag. Lay the points. Lay the points with Georgia. They're covering this. They're going to beat Florida. And so BetOnline.ag is your online sportsbook experts, and they're the place that Clint and I trust for all of our online wagering. All right, Justin, you got something? You got a question, Clint, or where you want to go?
No. I see the list of questions you got, and I like where you're heading.
Yeah. I want to play a little game. I want to get your official picks. I want to get your official pick on the game. I need a score. I'm going to need it all. And so be formulating that. But I want to play a little game. I want to play a little over under here.
Ooh.
Okay. So we'll play with both of you. All right. We'll play with all three of us. Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to set the lines. This is BetOnline.ag approved, and we're just gonna give a simple over under. Okay.
Here's our prop. Yep.
Here we go. This is prop bets on college football, prize picks. This episode is brought to you by this segment right here. We're bringing it up. If you eat a Built Bar, Justin, while we do this segment, we'll have everything covered. It'll all be good.
Things are going to absolutely go awry in a hurry. It's computers will explode.
We're going to start here. And I'm going to use Vegas numbers for these because Vegas numbers are out there. I'm going to go total points by Florida. Ooh. And the line right now is 18.5. That is the line for Florida's point total in this game. Justin, you said their ceiling is as high as 24. You said you didn't think they were going to get there. This is a bit lower than that. 18.5, gentlemen. Where are you going, over or under? Justin, you can start.
I'm going to go with the over, guys. And not because I think they're gonna, just light up the scoreboard, but I think you might see some Kentucky-like action here where they're sitting on like maybe 13 in the fourth quarter on a final drive, and they're just trying to put one in to make the scoreboard look a little bit more respectable, and that's how they get over 18. But 18 is a little low. I think Mullen's he's not gonna go out that bad. I would say over 18.
Oh, this is a hard under for me. Hard under. Give me. I am so confident in our defense against this offense. I've watched this offense against every other defense that they played, and nothing's now. Anthony Richardson, he's talented. So the wild card's there. He could break off a couple of big chunk plays, and if that's the case, but I would take the under. Daniel,
this is a scary one for me. And I saw it at 18.5, and I thought it's over 17. That's an instant bet under. This is Georgia defense. The total is over 17. It's just got to be an instant under. Nobody can score 17 against this Georgia defense. But you go back and look, and this is something we haven't talked about yet on the podcast, but I went back and looked. Do you know the last time? Now, we're going to take out the New Year's Six game against Oklahoma last year. That's a postseason game. And I think we can both agree, even though Florida is trash, that Florida team had quit. That was not an indicator of that Florida. They got run by Oklahoma. But they had quit the season, which is an indicator of how bad their coach is, but not an indicator of how bad that team was. So we're going to take that out. The last regular season game, the Dan Mullen Florida team lost by more than 14 points, fellas. Do you know when it was?
Ooh. When was it?
The line is 14 right now. The last regular season game now keep in mind, they played national champion Alabama last year and did not lose to them by more than 14. The year before that, they played national champion LSU, maybe the best college football team we've seen in a generation. They did not lose to them by more than 14 points. I believe it was 14. So you have to go all the way back to 2018, and they lost 2 games back-to-back by more than 14 points. They were to your Georgia Bulldogs in that game where he ran the flea flicker on the first play, Justin, that you mentioned earlier. And then the next week
completely blew it.
Yeah, good Lord. And then the next week they lost by 19 to the Drew Lock-led Missouri Tigers as the season fell apart for Dan Mullen in his first year. But you got to go all the way back to 2018. Dan Mullen keeps these things close. He keeps them close.
That was the point I said earlier. Like Florida, they play up to the level of competition when the team is better than them, and they'll play down to the level of competition when they're playing an inferior team. That's kind of who they are. All
right, so I'm gonna still say under, but I think it's gonna be right around that number. I think it's gonna be 17-20. I think it's gonna be around that number. So give me total points by Georgia. The line right now is 32.5. So total points by Georgia over under 32.5, Justin.
Over. And especially because, that number might get bolstered by some non-offensive touchdowns. Maybe we'll get another punt return or another punt block for a touchdown, a pick six. We had a pick six last year in that game. I think Eric Stokes took one back, keeping us in the game in early in the first half or late in the second half, late in the first half, I should say. So I'm gonna go over.
This is over. Over. Oh, come on. This is all the points. We want to score Todd Monken against Todd Grantham. Like, you choice.
Yep.
Go ahead. Tell me which one you want. Because I know who I'm taking every day and twice on Sundays.
Battle of the Todds. We will have a competent quarterback at the helm this entire game. We did not last year. No offense to DeJuan Mathis, but we did not have a competent quarterback, a whole quarterback at the helm for the entire game this season. And I think Kirby remembers these types of things. This time, Jamie Newman. Oh, that's our first Jamie Newman reference on the podcast this year, I think, Justin. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over on this one. I'm not sure about the Florida point total, but I am sure about this one. I think Georgia's going to score a bunch of points. All right. Red zone trips for Florida in this game, 3.5 over under. 3.5 times in the red zone for Florida this game.
Under.
Under.
I think if they're getting in the end zone, it's big plays. I don't see them methodically driving down the field on us and getting to the red zone. I think our defense is too good for that. Now, what we haven't really seen this year is we haven't really seen our secondary just get tested. If there's one argument to be made about our defense, I think that's a fair one, is that, the quarterbacks that we have played, and that it might be a function of just how good our front seven is, that we're not giving them time to take those deep shots. But you haven't seen a lot of that. But I think that's kind of going to be what their MO is like, Anthony Richardson loves the deep shot. It's a blessing and a curse for him because he throws interceptions that same way. But I think we're going to see some deep shots from them, and if they get behind Ringo or Kendrick for whatever reason, that might be one of them. But I don't see 4 trips to the red zone.
Okay, Clint, quickly, over under.
Under. Come on, y'all. They get 1 trip to the red zone.
Under. I think Florida's kicking a lot of field goals in this game. I think that's so, and maybe some long field goals.
Let's get to the one I'm very curious about. Quickly, sacks for UGA.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, Justin. Some of the reason Georgia's secondary hasn't been tested. I'm not sure if you know this, but it's hard to throw deep when you're laying on your back. I don't know if you ever tried. You really need to put your lower body into it when you're trying to throw the ball far, and it's hard to do when you're laying on your back. So sacks for Georgia, and I'm going to put the number at 4.5 in this game. 2 mobile quarterbacks. You got to keep that in mind.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm gonna go over though. I'm gonna go over. Looking at those outside linebackers, Adam Anderson. I think this might be a game when he really breaks out, and I like what I've seen from Nolan as well. Who I've really been wanting to see a little bit more from is Travon Walker. I think with the amount of attention that Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt are getting, I'm like, Travon is like, you're right there, man. Like, just, and he's been there a few times or more than a few times this year. And he's like, for whatever reason, he just can't get the guy on the ground. But, if we can just get a little bit of more action out of him on the stat sheet, I'm going to take the over. I think things might fall apart. We might get like 3-1 on one drive from these guys.
Yeah. Dan Mullen offense does quick screens, quick passes, stupid tunnel screens, stupid gimmicky plays all the time. But it's hard to do that in 5-6 yard chunks when you're already down by 14. And so I think he's going to have to rely on his quarterbacks to make plays. And yeah, they're mobile. But do you know what happens when you get rushed in your face and you are a mobile quarterback? You rely on your legs. And do you know what happens when you rely on your legs? As a gazelle, when you have the lions behind you, you get taken down. Over 4.5, Daniel.
Yeah, I think over as well. This offensive line for Florida is not good. I don't know. People are not talking about that, but this offensive line for Florida is not good. So this defensive line for Florida, for Georgia, this just in, is good. Okay, Justin, let's get some official predictions. You've already hinted at a high-scoring game, it sounds like. So it seems like you had both teams over their point total. So Justin likes the over in Locks segment tomorrow. It's like 50 right now, I think.
Yep.
So talk to me about how the game plays out and a score prediction in the end.
I'll come right out with my score prediction. I'm going to go UGA 42, Florida 20. Florida 20.
42-20. Love it.
I think it's not even going to be as close as that, and that's not a close score, but I don't think it's going to be as close as that score even shows. I think they're going to get a late score where they're just trying to make it look a little bit more respectable than it actually was, kind of like Kentucky did. I still think that was a clown move, but I could be persuaded that it wasn't. But I think that's kind of how it goes. I think we come out and get a big lead in the first half, and then we kind of take our foot off the gas like we love to do, like Kirby loves to do. But I think there's still a little bit of animosity about how things went down last year, and we let them know who's still really in charge of the East.
Yeah, revenge game. I mean, we've been hearing it a lot this week as we've been talking to people, as we've interacted with people on Twitter and the comments on YouTube, via email, whatever. Like that seems to be the narrative that's coming around, and there's not a lot of revenge that's needed. But Florida is one of those teams. You know, it's not 2017 when we're like coming off of a loss to everybody in the conference, basically,
Vandy included.
But Kirby is a revenge guy. He's a guy that he's using that. He's motivating those players, and he's talking to the media about how this is a great Florida team. And I don't know how he must go home and repent. I don't know what's going on there.
TMF. I mean, guys,
he knows that's a lie. He knows it's a lie. But listen, he's saying what needs to be said. But behind those locker room doors, that he's getting after it, and he's going to do everything he can to make this not as close as it could be. Man, Justin, it's been a blast. This is the longest podcast of the week, and feels like I've got 20 more questions I could ask. I'm not mad about it. All right, we're gonna have you back on. Remind the folks of your Twitter handle, anywhere else that they can find all of your nonsense takes.
My takes are not nonsense. My takes are hot takes, fresh takes, and usually right, except when they're not. But you can find me on Twitter at JustinBTweetin_. I'm on there probably a lot more often than I should be. I think Sarah was saying what's up with these lawyers that just spend all their time on Twitter? That's me. I'm your guy. So check me out on Twitter for sure.
All right. Well, if you need some legal advice, Locked On Bulldogs gets a cut of anything that Justin charges you.
Referrals, 5%.
You know that. So, Justin, I assume we will see you at the Applebee's in Indianapolis. Is that correct? Well, I mean, we'll be out there. We're going to be
in Miami first. We're going to be in Miami first, but then we'll make our plans. We'll solidify the plans in Miami about what we're going to do in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Yeah, but then we'll be eating good in the neighborhood over in Indianapolis. You be sure about that. All right, Justin, thanks for coming on. Clint and I will be back tomorrow. We got Locks, and we'll talk to you guys then.